All right. All right, here we go. We are live. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube right now. I'm going to give a couple minutes for folks to get on, and then we will jump right in. And if you are popping on, or so when you pop on, if you would just put your name in the comments and where you are watching from, what city, what state, or what country, that would be awesome. Today, we're talking about soft skills for middle managers. So, again, when you pop in, just put what state or city or country that you are watching from. And as soon as I have 2 or 3 people on here, I'm going to go live because you can always watch this on the team replay. And again, today we're talking about leading teams, soft skills for middle managers. And if you are just jumping on, go ahead and put your name and your city and state or country that you're watching from. Actually, your name should come up, but on some of the platforms, it doesn't really show up. So that would be good. Once I have 2 or 3 people in the comments, I will go ahead and get started. And if you're seeing this after 4:30 p.m. Eastern, you are going to be team replay. So if there's anyone on right now, go ahead and just say hello, drop your country, your city, your state in the comments, and we will get started. All right, so today we're talking about soft skills for middle managers. And so I'm Sharon Gill. I am an executive leadership coach with Gill Coaching and Consulting Company. I'm also the founder of Purpose Center Leadership, that page that this is appearing on LinkedIn. And today we're talking about soft skills for middle managers. We speak a lot about executive leadership and leadership for C-suite and senior managers, but in coaching executives and coaching senior leaders, I am seeing that a lot of the issues are coming up from middle management, and that is really not their fault. It's more from a lack of training or a lack of coaching at that level, because traditionally we tend to expend money on coaching the executive suite and the C-suite, and for good reasons. However, the long-term effect of not coaching or training your middle managers is it tends to create an issue with your team culture. It tends to create an issue with team leadership, team management, because we know that, and we've heard that people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad managers, they leave bad leaders. So today we want to talk about what are some of the soft skills for middle managers. And in no particular order, the soft skills identified by the Center of Creative Leadership, this is where I got this material from, is thinking and acting systemically, resiliency, influence. I believe there was also self-awareness and agility. And so I am going to be talking a little bit about each of these. Okay, so what is thinking and acting systemically? Well, according to this article, right, is first of all, middle managers are in this awkward position where they're literally in the middle, right? So they're in the middle of senior leadership and they're in the middle of those who maybe they just got promoted from the ranks from, right? So they're in the middle of their peers or previous peers and senior leadership. So they're the middle managers. And so they're always feeling the heat from up top or from the bottom coming up. So they're in an awkward position. So how can we help them to be more effective? Well, one of the things that they need training in is how to think and act systemically. For middle managers, this skill is critical, and they often serve as a bridge between upper management and frontline employees. And this enables them to see the big picture and understand how their team's work fits into the overall goal of the organization. So it's almost like trying to get middle managers to think more like leaders, right? To take ownership of the role and to bridge the gap between their team and upper management. They are the actual bridge between the team and the team's concern and the team's needs and upper management. Their role, or they should be trained or encouraged and or coached to identify and address systemic issues that affect team performance and productivity. So we're not looking for managers to be, putting a sledgehammer down all the time. We are looking for them to do that wonderful dance between identifying the issues that affect the team performance and the productivity, so that they're meeting the organization's overall goal. We want to train them to make decisions that consider the long-term implications for the organization. So again, we want to get them out of the mindset of thinking, I'm just a middle manager or I'm just a manager. And, we have the bosses and we have the leaders, but to have them think like they are really part of the ownership of the organization, and to help them to bring along the team. So helping them or empowering them to make decisions that consider the long-term implications of the organization. And then finally, we want to create an atmosphere for middle managers where they feel, again, motivated, empowered to foster cross-functional collaboration and break down silos within the organization. So if you have a bunch of middle managers in your organization, right, and everyone's in their own camp and building their own silos, that's such a very narrow and limited way of thinking, and it doesn't serve the organization well. So as senior leaders, you want to empower, right, give autonomy somewhat, right, to these middle managers to create cross-functional collaboration between their departments and other departments. And so this is, what we're going to cover under thinking and acting systemically. So the next thing that the article pointed out, and again, I'm giving credit to the Center of Creative Leadership from where I pulled this article. The next trait that they, or skill that they said is needed for middle managers is resiliency. And what is resiliency? Resiliency is the ability to bounce back from setbacks and maintain a positive attitude in the face of adversity. And we know in any company, right, there's always going to be setbacks, right? There's going to be seasons of exponential growth and seasons of shrinkage, seasons when we have employees leaving, and seasons when we may be hiring and overloading. So there's always going to be things happening. So having resiliency as one of your traits is going to be so important, because it allows the middle managers in your organization to stay focused and maintain their performance during stressful times. Stress is a part of work. It's just there's no avoiding it, right? But we need to help our middle managers or give them enough training that they know how to be resilient. Support their team through changes and difficult situations. So not only do we want the middle managers to be resilient, we want them to be able to support their team, right, their team members during periods of stress and changes. Because in the world that we're operating in today as leaders and owners, right, there's so many changes, right? We see the encroachment in our daily lives with AI, right? And so we're always having to adjust, and people get scared of AI. They get scared of changes. And so resilience allow, managers to not only be resilient themselves and able to embrace and, process changes and stress, but to also teach their team members how to do so. But another aspect of resilience, it allows managers, right, to recover quickly from failures and learn from mistakes. And I would say that the ability to learn from mistakes comes from a culture that has to be set from above, right? So if the organization's overall messaging, culture, theme is it's okay to fail and fail forward, then, and that tone needs to be set from upper management. But when that tone is set, then middle managers have a better time or an easier time in learning how to recover quickly from failures and learn from their mistakes, because the culture will already be set and embraced by upper management. And they themselves can now teach their team that it's okay to take chances, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to fail forward. And that when we have a culture that allows failure and embraces failure as a way of learning, then you find that there'll be more innovations in your organization. So resiliency. And finally, we talk a lot about mental well-being nowadays, and for for good reasons. We have seen an amazing uptick in mental health issues. It could be because it's less destigmatized, and so more people talk about mental health. But when you have resilient managers, it allows them to maintain their physical and mental well-being despite the heavy workloads and high demands. Again, middle managers, if you're watching and you're a middle manager, you know the balance between, again, trying to maintain balance between upper management and the team that you're asked to manage. All right. One important skill, and that's for everyone, whether you're a middle manager, lower manager, upper manager, is communication. It remains a pivotal skill at the middle management level as well. Managers act as intermediaries, as I've been saying. They're in the middle and they act as intermediaries. But one thing that I think is note talking about is that managers have an extremely influential position. I'll say it over and over again. Many people look at the leaders and the founders and the CEOs, and yes, they're the visionaries and they're pushing the ship forward. However, managers are the ones that are getting the attention of your team. They're the ones making decisions. And so them having great communication skills is very important, because it allows them to convey strategic goals and expectations from senior managers to their teams. And so they need to have great communication skills, right? Open communication skills, open door communication. This is a huge issue if there's poor communication. This is for the entire company, but even more so for middle managers. They need to be able to provide regular updates and feedbacks to senior management about team performance and issues. The team is depending on the middle manager to convey their concerns and their issues to upper managers. And so it is very important that middle managers have exceptional communication gifts, and this can be trained. It's important they listen, because communication is not just speaking, it's speaking and listening. Again, communication is not just speaking, it's speaking and listening. So they need to be able to listen to their team members and address their concerns and suggestions. Like I said, middle managers have the most impact and effect on team members. And they need to be able to facilitate open and honest discussions that promote transparency and trust. For the majority of your employees, their manager is the person that they should trust the most. So as middle managers, you have to earn the trust. And again, my encouragement is for senior leadership to really take a look at the training protocols and the coaching that's being offered or not being offered to middle managers. So for those of you just jumping on, we already discussed thinking and acting systemically, resiliency, and communication as some of the soft skills that are needed at the middle management level. If you are popping in here, please put your state or your country that you're watching from, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Now, I have two more soft skills to discuss, and we're talking about soft skills for middle managers. The next one is influence, right? It's a soft skill. Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the behavior development or decisions of others without direct authority. So middle managers don't really have that direct authority. They're middle managers. However, they can be an influence. And, John Maxwell always says leadership is influence. So if you can develop influence, then, hi, Eloisa, if you can develop influence, then you have authority, right? You have that authority. So for middle managers, the soft skill of developing influence is very important. is the key to driving change and achieving objectives. This skill of influence will allow you to persuade and motivate team members and peers to support your initiatives. And as a middle manager, your initiative should be the company's initiative. Because remember, as I've said earlier, the middle manager is the middle person between upper management and your team and your team that you're managing, right? So transparency and trust is important. It's also having influence also helps you to build alliances and coalitions to gain buy-in for ideas, right? So again, remember, influence is leadership. Okay, when you have influence, you are leading. It means that people are following you, they're looking at you, they're looking to you. And in the middle management position, the people who you're supervising, it's important to have the right kind of influence over them. This skill also allows you to navigate organizational policies effectively, to advocate for your team and secure necessary resources. Again, your team trusts you in the middle management space. They trust you to advocate for them with upper management. They trust you to get the resources that they need to do their work. So you can build tremendous influence with your team, and that's going to be important for you, even for your trajectory as a middle manager. And again, my appeal, this message is talking about middle managers and the soft skills that they need. But my message is really to upper management, upper leadership, right? As I said, as an executive leadership coach, I typically work with senior leaders, CEOs, but then in my work with senior leaders, what I'm seeing is the need for training and coaching for middle managers, because while senior leadership and CEOs have certain issues, with scaling and strategy and mindset and all of that stuff that they need help with, the guts of the organization is in the hands of the managers that are over the people. So it's very important. And last thing with influence is when you lead by example in the middle management space, you inspire others through your actions and decisions. Let me just say this. You're going to inspire others negatively, or maybe you wouldn't use the word inspire with negativity, but when you have influence, your influence can be for good or for bad. Like I said, the saying goes, people leave bad managers. They don't leave bad jobs. And so if you're not using your influence in the right way, then you're going to have a negative result. And so soft skills needed for middle managers, one of them is influence. We have two more. Learning agility is another soft skill that's needed for middle managers. And I'd love to hear any questions. If anyone has any questions or thoughts or comments, I'd love to hear that in the chat. And again, if you're watching after 4:30 p.m., your team replay, you can still ask your question and I will answer. We're talking today about soft skills for middle managers. Learning agility continues to be important as managers progress in their careers. For middle managers, it means being able to quickly adapt to new challenges and continuously improve their leadership. This skill involves seeking out new learning opportunities and experiences to enhance their skills. And this is for you, the middle manager. The other 4 skills I talked about really impacts your team. It impacts how you're working with your team, and it impacts how you're communicating with upper management. But this is for your own personal development as a middle manager. You want to have a culture of continuous improvement within yourself and also within your team. So as a middle manager, first you want to keep developing yourself as the best leader you can be. And then bring that culture down to your team. There's so many surveys and research that shows that what motivates people is the opportunity, in many cases, to just learn, to see a path forward, to see a trajectory. And one of the best gifts you can give to your team as a manager is the opportunity for them to continuously learn and grow. But you can't give what you're not doing, right? So you should also foster that within yourself. As a middle manager, you should remain open to feedback and willing to make changes based on new insights. This is called growth, right? This is called growth. This is a growth mindset. So if you're set in your ways, you will not grow. And you should be able to take feedback from your frontline workers, from the people who you're actually managing. Sometimes they're the ones who can see your blind spots. And so being open to feedback and willing to make changes based on new insights. And one last thing is to apply lessons learned from past experiences to your current and future situations. Remember, I said if there's a culture of failing and being okay with failure, then you're going to be able to apply lessons learned from your setbacks to future situations. And last but by no means least, and again, if there's any questions, I'd love to hear it. Self-awareness. We hear a lot about self-awareness. It remains crucial for middle managers as you take on more complex roles and responsibilities. Self-awareness helps you to understand your own leadership and how it impacts your team and the organization. Understand your leadership style and how it impacts your team and your organization. You know, I recently got certified as a DISC trainer. And one of the things that I've been working with my client was taking a DISC again. You know, for some people, they took it in college, or they may have taken it on a different job. And your DISC should change over time as you grow and as you evolve. And the ability to recognize your own personality or your own leadership gifts or skills allows you to better work in a team environment, a team culture, you know, create better cultures, learning, you know, the personalities of your team members, taking that step to introduce even those assessments on your team so you know the best and most effective way to communicate with your team. It's something that I've been doing for my clients, and it's reaping great dividends. I've seen just the improvement in their communication among themselves, just knowing how to communicate across personality styles. Self-awareness allows you to identify areas for your own personal growth and to seek out development opportunities. So even though I've been coaching for years and I have been in leadership for over 30 years, I continually seek opportunities to grow. And that's, like I said, I just got certified in DISC, certified as a coach a while back. I've ran several companies. I've been involved with mergers and acquisitions. I've run nonprofits. I've run law firms. I've run magazines. But I never feel like I've learned enough because we never do, right? It's a continuous learning, and especially now in this era of AI and what that's doing in just the workplace and just in the way how we live our lives, we have to remain open to learning and continuous improvement. And lastly, very important, is to recognize and manage your stress levels and emotions effectively. Remember, we can't pour from an empty cup, right? And if you don't know how to handle, you know, your emotions and your stress levels effectively, it's going to trickle down to your team. So these are the soft skills. Again, we mentioned 6 that middle managers need. And I know the subject of middle managers don't usually get a lot of applause because everyone looks at leadership and the upper level leaders and the CEOs. However, it is important to know that the middle managers are the ones who have been placed in charge of the team, of the majority of your staff. And so it is important that upper management, upper leadership, CEOs, founders, take a look at investing more in your middle managers. Like I said, I'm an executive coach. I work mostly with CEOs, founders, and their upper level leadership team. But in my work with this group, I am seeing that there's more work needed further down in the organization. And that is, it's time to take another look at the training and the coaching being offered to your middle managers. Anyway, that's it for today. My name is Sharon Gill again. I'm an executive leadership coach. If you are a CEO, founder, or a leader, and you're looking to enhance your leadership skills, communication, executive presence, team culture, please give me a call, send me a DM. And also, if you're looking to level up on bringing some training for your management team, new leaders, emerging leaders, please send me a DM, because I have a great program that's geared for that particular group. It's a group program. We can do, three to maybe 10 at each group, because we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to participate. But it's a wonderful program if you're looking to develop the leadership skills for those in your organization that are emerging leaders. Thank you, Eloise. Eloisa, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.